Hello YouTube, Liverpool fan in Japan here, the Miyazaki Mansai. Oh dear, that didn't quite go to plan, did it? Last minute equaliser, Jiro Kwanzaa ruled out for the most ridiculous pull, but how can you pull it back that far? Different phase, whatever. Anyway, let's tell it like it is. Yes, Wataru Endo did not have the best of games. It's true, let's say it like it is. He probably should have got sent off twice. That tackle, right, similar to Rashford's one, foot over the ball, made contact. Lucky boy to get away with it, but we knew what he was like already. We love Endo, right? We still love Endo. Have faith in him because he signed a 4-year contract. He's here to stay and he will get his place. He will acclimatise to the tactics, but it's actually on Klopp and the team as well to utilise him and all of his attributes and ability, because they scouted him. They saw what he could do in the German league with Stuttgart, captaining that team, captaining the Japan national team as well. They have the data points. They know his ability. They know how he's going to assimilate into the team as well. So it's not all on him. He's got to adjust to life in Liverpool, adjust to Klopp's tactics and demands, and also, build that relationship with the teammates. But let's look at the team first and foremost. Not many players performed well against Toulouse. Let's be honest there. I think even our most prominent senior members like Lucho Diaz, right? And obviously he has a lot going on. Thank you so much, Kami-sama, that he and his family can be reunited. His dad finally released. That is one of the crowning moments of the year, one of the best news moments of the year. I'm really thankful, and I was delighted, a little bit tearing up as well. To see the news around his dad and the speech, and Mane, he's called Mane back home, right? That's very heartwarming. But anyway, back to the game. Nobody played particularly well, taking off Bendo at half-time, Endo at half-time. Endo probably should have got sent off, to be honest. 3 tackles, one could have been a straight red. Very lucky boy. But you put on McAllister back in the 6, Szoboszlai, Mo Salah as well. Take off Tsimikas. Tsimikas were underperforming, got caught in possession, got robbed. They scored a goal, putting Gomez on the left-hand side, putting Trent to transition more into the midfield to make things work. But still, was not a good performance. We didn't have the energy levels, that aggressiveness, that dog in them, that fight. You can't underestimate the Europa League. Every single time opposition play against Liverpool, it's Christmas Day, it's bonus day. We want to batter them and we need to show them, humble them, put them in their place. Liverpool FC are here to win the Europa League and win it pretty comfortably, even though you've got to put effort in. And that's unfortunate, right? Because Ben Doak, he didn't do too much wrong. Yeah, a situation of circumstance. Klopp made the change going for it, but let's go back to Wataru Endo. Okay, so George Schmadtke, Klopp and the scouting team know his attributes, know his ability. They signed him over players like Amrabat. We know what happened with Lavia. Lavia hasn't even made a field. Caicedo, hell of a good player, but look at the price differential there, and possibly he may go off to Real Madrid in the future, but he's not made a huge impact for Chelsea either, with or without that disallowed goal over the weekend. I think Endo still has a part to play, but the question is McAllister, right? He plays McAllister in the 6, that thinking man's general in that position. Is McAllister the best, taking the ball and shifting it and rotating it? He's not as silky as Thiago in that kind of role, right? Thiago is better than McAllister in the 6, for sure, in my opinion, and he's got more experience playing there. But McAllister can play in a deep lying 2 pivot 6, because when he played over Caicedo, he's very effective. McAllister isn't the ultimate number 10. He's not Pablo Aimar, for sure. He's not one of those Fabrizio Micolis or someone who can play in that 10 or shadow striker position. He floats in between the 8 and the 6 position, collecting the ball, distributing the ball, rotating the ball, bringing the ball to the right phases of play to give it to the players who can really make the damage. The ball over the top to Nunes, when Nunes scored on a volley, that's not a common attribute of McAllister. McAllister plays those silky, weighted, slided balls, but not over long distances. He is your kind of metronome in midfield. He really is a metronome. He's not even a tempo maestro, because Thiago is really a tempo maestro, but McAllister has bits of every single facet of a modern day midfielder. He can tackle, he can press, he can retain position, he's got a decent touch. Somewhat he can use 2 feet as well. He's not too bad in the air, but not great in the air. He's got a thinking man's brain, picks up the right positions and knows how to transition the balls into the right positions. But the issue that McAllister seems to have is he's our go-to player, and the opposition know he's our go-to player. So you don't close him down straight away. You close him when there's an opportunity that the ball is played bad, or is coming onto the weaker side, or he hasn't got the options or the passing lane immediately, the trigger points when he receives the ball, which means that he has to lay it back or take a risky turn or touch into danger, into the pressure point, which invites the opposition press onto him. Wataru Endo is suffering from the same symptoms. The number 6 role in a Jurgen Klopp system is the most difficult role by far, and especially because the system and the functions in and around him if the fullback's tucked in like Guardiola's system, right, gives you 2 additional options in that midfield to play laterally as well. Van Dijk is looking to pin the long balls and be the last line of defence. He's lost a bit of pace, so he's not as effective doing that as before. Joel Matip, transitioning through the midfield, breaking through for a run as well, isn't a passing option to McAllister because it's the other way around. When Matip's on the ball, McAllister's looking to go into those half spaces to make an option for Matip or move the opposition away so Matip can run through. Kanate is trying to fulfil the Matip role as well. It's very, very difficult for the number 6 to, isolated in that position, to operate offensively and defensively in the transition. Wataru Endo, it seems to be finding it very, very difficult to adjust the kind of mindset onto when he needs to press the opposition high up, coming from that deep position, getting caught in possession, which means he's in line with the player who's going to break our lines, which means he's got to run back, but he's not going to be sitting deep that whole time. Klopp doesn't really play with an anchor man. He plays with progressive pressers who press the opposition in certain zones. We close centrally, allow them to go out wide and then box them in with a fullback, defensive midfielder and a winger from behind as well. So in that regard, the number 6 is a very lonely position because you've got to be thinking all the time about the facets of play, which is why Fabinho took so long to settle and Klopp didn't put him there straight away, right? It is a very, very difficult role, and I don't think there's many players in world football who can fit that 6 straight away. I mentioned 2, Ruben Neves, João Palhinha, mainly just because of their Premier League experience, their technical capability, and that kind of high upper echelon ability. But look at it this way, Endo is a much better transfer than Amrabat and Man United, who is actively losing them points. He's an option as well, an experienced head. And the reasoning about the fouls and what we knew about him, as I mentioned earlier, he's got that dog in him. He's not going to shy away. When he feels he's been wrong, he'll kick out. He's got those little niggles. He'll snarl. He'll go in there. And unfortunately, the timing was all wrong yesterday. I don't know. The whole team was in a bit of a funk. We just didn't look like we were really into that game or wanted to win the game, or we were connecting with each other. I think Gakpo from the long layoff as well. Lucho Diaz had other things in mind. Ben Doak trying his best, but he hasn't got the chemistry. He hasn't got that game awareness yet for what happens in the next phase after he does a particular action as well. McAllister, we saw him in a more advanced position, but he really didn't make the most of it. So this clamouring to put him in that left-sided 8 position ahead of Curtis Jones, ahead of Gravenberch, for example, I don't see it. I don't see that being his long-term predominant position because he likes to operate from deeper, collect the ball and operate there. Gravenberch can break the lines better, and Jones is better at holding the ball in progressive positions and making space and retaining the ball than McAllister. I actually do think that. McAllister is someone who needs the ball to revolve around him and movement in and around him to function well because he can see the passing lanes before he's received the ball. He's that type of intelligent player. Wouldn't look out of place in Man City, wouldn't look out of place in Barcelona, but I don't think there's enough movement in and around him in the Liverpool midfield to facilitate that and be really, really effective. You're kind of expecting a 4-2-3-1 for him to really dominate in that position, and maybe a destroyer, maybe an Endo and McAllister holding at the base there to really let both of them shine, because McAllister would be the one who receives the ball and plays the ball, and Endo his intelligent shadow. But we really don't do that. We play with a single 6 and 2 progressive 8s. So the ask of a number 6 is very, very difficult, especially for a player in his twilight years, coming in from a different league. He speaks English, but not completely fluently. You know, he's still adapting to the coach's plans as well, the pace of the different situations, playing with different personnel. You put Endo in the first team, and he's not so bad at all. But once again, he's on a 4-year contract. He does need to play better. Everyone knows what he can do already. They wouldn't give him a 4-year contract and dump him after 4 months, 5 months. It's just not how it works. People need time to settle, and obviously the criticism online, he's actively acknowledged that it's affecting him. Why are you doing that? You never walk alone, Liverpool. Support the team. We all wish the team to be at their best. It comes with love and support, gratitude and endeavour, right? And he's got courage. He never backs away from a challenge. He'll always thrust himself in there. He's part of the Liverpool team. I don't think it's fair to single him out. I think other channels have tried to single him out as well. Every player did not perform up to par in that particular performance. Tsimikas had a really, really bad off day. When is the last time Trent had a highlight reel moment? It's been a while. We're sacrificing a lot by trying to get Trent into that natural kind of pivot, inverted 6 position, when actually he's one of the most effective ball whippers from the outside in the traditional right fullback role. Maybe the media has got to Klopp's thinking a little bit around ball over the top, defensive liability, don't get him one-on-one, they're targeting Trent, because that is actually nullifying a lot of Robertson's threat, because he has to stay back to cover for Trent's, wanders off further offensively into the kind of transitions as well. So I think Liverpool need to take a break, have a tactical rethink. This is 2.0, the start of something new. Don't get bogged down by the media and the bad results. Refresh, look at the squad again. The good thing is Jota seems to be really, really good at making those final runs, those incisive runs and clinically finishing as well. Nunes, I'm not going to ever argue against Nunes because I love watching him play. He's so fun. He is the agent of chaos, regardless if he misses an absolute sitter. He's so entertaining. He's my Liverpool number 9. Really, really enjoying Nunes up there. And Salah will always contribute throughout the seasons. Ups and downs, peaks and troughs, won't always be clinical. That's always been Salah, and he always gets the high numbers. Lucho Diaz, now that his dad is rescued, should play with a smile on his face, be really effective in that regard as well. Gakpo needs to come to form because we need that type of player to draw the defenders away from the final line as well. Ultimately, Szoboszlai is the one who's really performed this season, but he's looking a little bit weary, a little bit tired. Hopefully he's not jaded from giving it all out. He's our hairy number 8. Curtis Jones, we need him back as well, but he's always injured at the worst possible moments. Gravenberch looked on form as well, but that form hasn't translated into points and results. So it's very, very questionable at the moment where this whole team is at. Only Alisson Becker comes away with straight A's because he's absolutely fantastic. Actually, Joe Gomez is playing pretty decent as well. Can't fault Gomez too much. And Matip, for all the criticism he received last year, still a top-notch professional, top-notch lad. Back the Reds. Back Wataru Endo, back McAllister, back Nunes despite his misses. This is the Liverpool that we support and the Liverpool that we love. Liverpool fan in Japan, Ichiban. Let me know in the comments below what you think. I know a lot of people are very downhearted right now. A lot of criticism over Twitter. This is what social media does. Look at it objectively. We're still very, very close to the Premier League leaders, and we will get there. We'll be in and around there at the end of the season. Even news of Andre possibly being a smokescreen and we're turning down that higher kind of bid threshold, or we're looking at alternative targets, or FSG, here we go again in January. Back the Reds. I love Liverpool. Janet.